Hello, I'm Thomas Wesley Weeks, pastor of New Destiny Fellowship in Wilmington, Delaware, and I am watching and experiencing the Diamond Experience with Marsha Benton, and you are too.
Woman, 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 hear me roar. Woman, 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 hear me roar. Woman, 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 hear me roar. Woman, 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 hear me roar. I'm on. I come back, I tell you to stop. In my voice, you will hear from the valley to the mountaintop, and I deserve.
Greetings, kings and queens. Hey, you're here at the Diamond Experience Show with Marsha Benton. Today we have on set the illustrious Apostle Thomas Wesley Weeks, Senior Pastor of New Destiny Fellowship in Wilmington, Delaware. You will want to hear what this Kingdom General has to say for a time as now. 2020 is a new decade, and miraculous things are gonna happen. Stay right there. We'll be right back.
Woman, 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 hear me roar. Woman, woman.
Hi, my name is Shaylin Davis.
I'm Deirdre Handy,
Hello, my name is Nadia Borges.
and we're watching
The Diamond Experience with Marsha Benton.
Woman, 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 hear me roar. Woman, woman.
Welcome, Apostle Weeks, to the Diamond Experience.
Great to be here.
I'm so excited to have you here.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, there are so many things that we could talk about for this show, but we're going to try to stay on key. But if you hear the Holy Spirit telling you anything, we will break to hear whatever the Lord
Amen.
has to say.
Amen.
Amen, because this is a time that people need to hear a word from the
Yes.
Lord.
Yes.
And so tell everyone a little bit about your books.
Yes. I brought 3 books with me, and I believe that they will bless people. They will really help people. My latest book is Transformed. It talks about a life that you want to get to and how to get there. It's actually the backstory. So when we talk about a transformed life and changing, and we want to know how does that happen. And the truth of the matter is that's the role of the church. The role of the church is our power position. It's the vehicle that gives us the ability to change, to transform.
Yes.
The scripture tells us that we ought to not be conformed to this world, but be transformed. And so how does that happen? So it talks a little bit about that and the power state, the ability of the believer to be able to speak back into his life a word of power.
Yes.
It speaks back into his life it becomes the genesis of his change or her change. And so this book gives you a road map, a step by step. And second is the road to greatness. And the road to greatness is all about it's the story of Isaac as he was demoralized. His father wanted to kill him. Abraham took him up to a hill. He felt very much alone, ostracized from his brother because his brother was teasing him. So he's in this fog as we're coming in Genesis, and we catch up to him in the 22nd chapter. He's just in this fog, and the Lord appears to him and says, listen, all that happened in your life was because of me. I told Abraham to do all of that.
Wow.
His response to that was, okay, whatever you say. And he just followed the command of the Lord. Just say, listen, don't go to Egypt, so you stay right here in the land of the Philistine. But because he did not understand that word in his life, the generational curse that had been following him continued. And he ended up doing the same thing his father did.
Yes.
And that was all to lie on his wife. But right after that, we notice that he has a confrontation with that. And right after that, you see the scripture change. All of a sudden, he comes alive, and he says, and in that very same year that he was confronted, he kind of woke up. He realized I was doing the same thing my father's been doing. I need a change.
Yes.
It said he planted a seed and received a 100-fold blessing. And then we follow his life, and it becomes the rest of the chapter becomes the way out of struggle. How? Because it's nice to say, oh, one day I just woke up and everything worked out for me.
Right.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
You'll wake up and you'll begin a journey towards your end point, your destiny, and that journey will cause you to face yourself and decide that there are some things I've been holding on to I really want to release. And in this story, it was the wells of his father. In other words, things that have passed down through generations that his father dealt with, he now has to deal with. And he had to release them. The Bible said when he released them, it was called a place of Rehoboth.
Yes.
That release. And that's the struggle that all of us have.
Yeah.
There's some things in our lives that we have to let it go.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I didn't get an apology. I didn't get somebody to forgive or whatever it may be. You still have to release it, let it go, because you're being a captive in a particular place and you can't move on with your life.
Wow.
And so it talks about that, and it talks about once he got to that place that he could release, he was able now to go back to the place of blessing.
Yes.
Because this is the first time now that the Bible places Isaac back home where his dad had taken him from. When he was taking that journey up to the mountaintop. And now he gets back to that place, and then his enemies come to make an oath with him, to come into agreement with him. Once we get to the place that God would have us to be, even our enemies will come into agreement with us. And that's the promise of this story and this book, The Road to Greatness. And then the last is for leaders. It starts strong, finish stronger. And so in this book, I talk about 4 major principles of leadership. And I believe each one of them will be a new awakening for leaders.
Oh, excellent.
But one of the principles, one of the aspects of the principles that I talk about is priority. And once we can set priorities to our life, decision making becomes easy.
Yes.
One of the reasons why we have a hard time making decisions between that or this, or that, this, and this, is because we haven't set priorities.
Yes.
Once you know, okay,
Yes.
if my decision is between this and that, which one is really my priority?
Wow.
And once we understand which one is that priority, then you go with the priority. And the other one, yes, I would like to, but right now I have to prioritize my life.
Yes.
And so this I can put on the shelf, and I move in this area. So the book helps leaders work through all of the leadership challenges that they would face.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. You heard it here. Get these books. Now, I'm going to mention the very first book.
Right.
A Set Time.
Okay, wow.
And A Set Time, and I'm mentioning that because that book blessed my life so.
Amen.
And it continues to, honestly. When I get a little frustrated when things aren't happening the way I want them to, or a little anxiety sets in, I tell you the truth, God brings the cover of your book back to me. And he said, remember, there's a set time.
Yes.
It's not your time, and it calms me down. And I and it puts things in perspective for me.
Right.
And it was like, okay, right, it's a set time. It's not now. Yes, I want this now, but no, a set time.
And let me speak to that, because there are many who are watching right now who are facing certain amount of anxieties.
Yes.
And stress, and things are not working out like how you want them to work out, and you have to sometimes understand that your life not really all about yourself.
Yes.
It's not really all that you want to do, and or all that I would like to do. No, the steps of a good person are ordered by the Lord.
Yes.
And so there are certain steps that you have to take. And sometimes there is a holding, a waiting that you have to, and sometimes there is a running and a moving.
Yes.
And usually we find ourselves in the wrong place. When we ought to be moving, we're standing still.
Yes.
And when we ought to be standing still,
We want
we're
to do
moving.
something. Yes.
And, in the story, it talks about some various stations in life that you have to go through and that Abraham had to pass. But there was a promise that God had given Abraham, and the promise was that he was going to have a son, and he's going to be able to be a father of a nation. And,
Yes.
he kind of messed up a few times.
Yes.
Tried to do it himself. Things didn't kind of work out.
Like we all do.
Yeah.
Like we all do.
And then you create an Ishmael, something that you
Yes.
love.
Yes.
That is the handiwork of your hand or your flesh, and you fall in love with it rather than the spiritual promise. Rather than the spiritual promise, and you're
That's
telling
good.
God, why don't you bless this, Lord? Don't worry about.
Wow.
You don't have to make the promise come through. Just bless this so I can move on with it. And that's not God. Those of us that have been called
Jesus.
into faith, called as believers, we got to walk by faith. And so he sets up a journey for us that it's going to be by faith. And with Abraham, that's how it worked out. But now Abraham's just resting, sitting back, and God's saying, okay, it's time. But the Bible said that both he and his wife Sarah were old.
Yes.
So that's a problem. they were supposed to bring forth a child, but they were old. And with old, you have a mindset, things not working out.
Yes.
And it was real interesting. Abraham's problem was that he was saying Sarah couldn't bear a child.
Right.
Couldn't bear a child, and so he was looking around for somebody. It must be somebody else. The Lord's given me this promise.
Right.
And I'm in a frustrated situation. Even to make it even worse, his name was Abram, which meant father of nations. That means his father spoke that over his life. But then it was his father who gave him a wife that was barren.
Wow. Wow.
Sometimes you end up in life situations that just don't make sense.
You
know what I
talking
mean?
good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just
Yes.
don't make
Yes.
sense. So you're going through, you're
Start
messed
helping
up.
God.
Yes, and you will start helping God. And every time you help God is another crazy thing you create.
Yes.
That you got to get over and get past, and that will haunt you the rest of your life.
Yes.
And so don't do it. I'm giving a word out to
Yes.
somebody. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Just stay with the promise. A set time means that God has a time. And what happens is that when all hope was lost and it looked like it just wasn't going to work out, he shows up and he says to Abraham, Sarah is going to have a child a year from now. And Sarah laughs in her tent. And the Lord asked why she's laughing, and she's, I know, I was on, but you were.
Yeah.
You were. Now, how is that going to happen? And that was Sarah's problem.
Right.
That was Abraham's problem. How is that going to happen? So the Lord sets up a situation to let him know how. And what's crazy about it, it's he sets up a situation around Abraham's generational curse. So he lies on his wife.
Yes. Yes.
He lies on his wife. His wife ends up in the house of the Philistine king. And the Lord had to speak to the Philistine king, Abimelech, and say to him, listen, you got another man's wife. Don't touch her. And he then calls in Abraham and said, why'd you put me in that predicament? Why did you lie to me about this? You could have brought a catastrophe on my house on this. And Abraham told him, well, it's because I thought you might kill me because of Sarah, which is another problem.
Yes.
Here's another problem. So Sarah was in Abimelech's house, and the Lord showed up and said to Abimelech, and said to Abimelech, listen, I am going to just mess up your whole house because you're already messed up. Your wives are messed up. I'm going to have this curse on you where they're going to be barren, and if you don't turn over this man's wife. So he does.
Yeah.
Now look what the Lord says to that Abraham. Now Abraham, I want you to pray for Abimelech that his house will be restored to health, and pray for his wives that they can bring forth children. Wow.
Only God, right?
So now Abraham's praying for another man and his family that they will now have children.
And his wife.
And his wife is barren. When that story ends, y'all, the next verse is the beginning of the next chapter, which says, and the Lord visited Sarah and she had a child.
Wow.
So you actually have to put your own chapter in between those two chapters and realize Abraham realized, I need to be praying for my own wife.
Yes.
If I can do this in another man's house, I need to be able to do it in my house and pray for her.
Yes.
And turn it back on again.
Yes.
And have the child that I'm supposed to have. And then, yes, she was able to bear Isaac, and Isaac came out of that. Well, and then their whole life begins when they're just about ready to turn 90 and 100 years old. Their life begins. Now don't ever give up on the Lord.
Yes.
That's number one. Number two, learn from Abraham. Once God blesses you, you're going to be blessed, because he went all that time, didn't think he could get a child. After Sarah dies, about 37 years later, guess what? He marries again and have 6 more sons.
Yes. Yes.
It's the Lord bless. Never get frustrated with the Lord. He has a way of redeeming the time, making sure that everything's going to be all right. It's going to be all right, but you just got to surrender and give it over to him.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's awesome. He was just ministering to me because I had no idea I was going to have a show after 50.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
After 50.
That's
I thought, all the other, newscasters, everybody's on the
Yes.
set at 20, 30,
Right.
But God.
And the Lord has a way of redeeming the time. And this is for our listeners also, and because you'll notice it now, that all the time that you were waiting, you were frustrated, and you have this immense amount of frustration. But now, it's like that frustration doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Don't you hold on for a little while longer. Once you get there, all what you've been through won't matter.
It won't matter.
Matter of fact, you'll rejoice about it because it becomes your testimony.
Yes, 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 yes. Hold on. Don't give up. No matter what it looks like, no matter your age, we get caught up in our age,
Yes.
And God is saying, no, I just need you to stay focused and do what I would have you to do.
Right.
Right. So, wow, we will be right back with more with the Kingdom General, Apostle Thomas Wesley Weeks, Senior, here at Abundant Love Ministries, where we are taping live offset. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Woman, 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 hear me roar, woman, woman.
Hey everyone, this is Marsha Benton here at the Diamond Experience Show, my show. I just wanted to let you know about my book, Soul Ties More Than You Imagine. If you have not purchased it yet, you can find it on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. It will truly be amazing to your life. It will give you a lot of good information that you need. Please purchase this book and let me know what you think.
Woman, 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 hear me roar, woman, woman.
Hey, we're back here at the Diamond Experience Did you enjoy this show? I know you did. I was blessed. God was speaking directly to me. Apostle Weeks, thank you so
bless. God
much for
bless.
taking time out of your very busy schedule.
Thank you for the invitation.
Yes, to come here, get these books. He's getting ready to tell us how you can get his books and where you can follow him and what time church service is. And all of that. We thank you here at the Diamond Experience Show with Marsha Benton. Apostle Weeks.
Now, you can get these books on Amazon.com or to come to the church, New Destiny Fellowship at 906 East 16th Street in Wilmington, Delaware. So Amazon, you'll be able to get this and some other books that I have. You'll be able to purchase them or at the church, at our bookstore at the church, again, 906 East 16th Street in Wilmington, Delaware. You can also follow me on Instagram or Twitter and using Thomas Weeks Senior. That's SR. Thomas Weeks SR. And you go there. I'll look for you to connect. God bless. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now, until next time, we will be here again with part 2 with Apostle Weeks. We will be talking about pastoring. We will be talking about what the Lord is saying for 2020. And we will be talking about that great conference, Praise Power. Until that time, be encouraged. There is a set time for everything that God has in your life. Do not give up. Do not give up. It's going to happen. Stay encouraged, keep your head up, keep moving forward. The best is yet to come.
Woman, 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 hear me roar, woman.